Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel and I hope you've had a fab week. Last week's video, which was sort of part one, was me doing my wardrobe audit, and thank you so much for watching. And if you watched the whole thing, it was half an hour in the end and I really appreciate you sticking with it. Hopefully it was useful. There were quite a few takeaways from that video, and that sort of feeds into what I'm talking about today, which is what I'm inspired by for my autumn winter wardrobe, and also shopping my fabric stash. I had a big sort out and was quite surprised about how much fabric I already have and can use. So I'm going to show you some of that as well. If you enjoy vintage inspired DIY style and you haven't already subscribed, then please do. It'd be really lovely to have you here. Those of you who are already subscribed and you comment and you like and do all that good stuff and support me, I am eternally grateful, and it's so lovely to have you along on my sewing adventures. One of the resources that I used to help me with my wardrobe audit last week, and I just wanted to point it out, is the Curated Closet by Anuschka Rees here. I'll link it below. It's a really nice little book. It sort of takes you through how to organise your wardrobe. So discover your personal style and build your dream wardrobe. And those of us who sew literally do build our own dream wardrobes, don't we? So first of all, today I want to take you through a little bit of inspiration, what's inspiring me and what ideas I want to incorporate into my wardrobe, and also just recap on those lessons learned from my wardrobe audit last time. So I wrote all my notes down in my master plan, should be called the Madame Plan, I think, from last week. So what I realised was that there are a few things that I would like to make, and those were all items of clothing in black, really, to sort of form those core hero pieces of the wardrobe. Now the issue with black fabric or dark fabrics, those dark navies or even dark browns, anything sort of, you know, really deep colour, they're really difficult to buy online because so much of those fabrics, the thing about them is the texture and the way they feel, and those darker colours just really don't photograph incredibly well. So there are a few items of clothing that I don't really have that I'd really like. So statement blouses, there are a few blouses I'd like to make, and I've got this sort of idea of this big sort of sleeved, quite opulent blouse, and I'm thinking about this one, which is the Liberty pattern, and just doing that in a cotton lawn, maybe with pearl buttons. I'd really like that because I think that would go really well with my cord vintage trousers, the black cord, and I have enough of that black cord to make one of my waistcoats. So that's an outfit I'd like to make, because for me, I know that when I think of things in terms of outfits, those are the things that I end up getting a lot of wear out of because I'm really excited. But if I just sort of do, you know, like one thing, unless it goes with things that I already have, I don't tend to wear them that much. I think I'd like to make some winter versions of my Dita skirt, my vintage trousers and my drape front dress. Also some of my 40s dresses that I've made, the bondage dress, I'd like to do a winter version, and the Bella T dress I'd like to do a long sleeve, a hack to the sleeve, pattern cut a new sleeve to go with that. And actually none of these things I need, but these are just things that I would like to make. But as I said, those are all more or less in black fabric, and I need to go shopping for that, and when I do I will take you lovelies along with me. My inspiration comes from all sorts of places. It's not really, I don't shop on the high street. I very rarely go into any high street stores, department stores other than Liberty. I look at film, at Instagram, people who are dressing interestingly. There's certain designers that I always refer to, and every season I tend to do a sketchbook. And this season I've treated myself, I shall show you, to a brand new moleskin. This one's a sort of an A5 size. It's the soft one. I really love these because they open out really nicely, and the pages are just sort of big enough to do lots of sketching in, and then they take sort of ink and paint and so on really well. So this is my sketchbook of choice, and my theme this time is inspired by one of my favourite films, which is Blithe Spirit. It's a play written by Noel Coward, and it was filmed. I think they've remade it, or it's been remade and will be released, but the original version is just so good. And my favourite character in it is Madame Arcati, played by the wonderful Margaret Rutherford, who you may know as being a brilliant Miss Marple. She's one of my favourites, and I was absolutely obsessed with her when I was little. My winter theme, autumn winter theme, is called Madame Arcati's Looking Glass, and it's all about wanting to feel a little bit magical, a bit like a sorceress, a bit like a mad scientist, and a little bit of a dash of milkmaid. So all of those elements together are sort of creating the story that I want to tell in my sewing. There's been a lot of stuff going on that has left me feeling a bit deflated, and, you know, difficult things in my personal life, as we all have. And having fun with my wardrobe and making myself feel glammed up and a bit magical is one of the ways in which I nurture myself. So that's all part of why my theme is this sort of magical sorcery. And I live in a little cottage and like Hammer horror films, and that's sort of another element of the mix. So here's my sketchbook, and I've drawn my title page. This is literally just started, so you're getting a sneak peek here. Madame Arcati's Looking Glass. There's little spider webs, and then there's a cat, sorry, just here. Tear outs from magazines. I really loved this. None of it really has to make sense, but I'm very inspired by these colours. Hedy Lamarr there in an amazing cape and outfit. Always look at Hedy Lamarr for style inspiration. She is literally one of my absolute favourites. So I put together these little stories, little collages here that tell the story that I want to tell, this sort of glamorous sorceress, potion maker. I do a lot of collaging, but I've just started this sketchbook, so this is what I'm working on at the moment. I don't really buy many fashion magazines these days. Pinterest land is a brilliant resource for exploring your ideas and finding so much inspiration, but I do like Harper's Bazaar. I did have a subscription to this, but I don't anymore. But in this September issue, there's lots of key trends, and I really don't look at trends, but I just like looking at some of the high-end designs. I thought this was interesting. Highland Gathering. I've been watching Outlander and I'm a little bit obsessed with the idea of a plaid circle skirt. So this is a Molly Goddard. She's always very interesting, and, you know, polka dots and so on. So, you know, the opportunity to see some sort of interesting high-end ideas. There's a couple of designers that I'm looking at the moment. One of them is this person, Bora Aksu. Lots of really opulent, I thought these were all really lovely. These tulle Victorian-y style dresses, they made me think of that sort of mad scientist, Victorian Gothic, Dr. Frankenstein, that sort of thing. And I think Erdem is really, really lovely. This is incredible. Sort of ornate embellished shirts with feather covered circle skirts. Possibly not the most practical thing, but you know what? I'd feel amazing in that outfit. Always very beautiful, romantic, lovely fabrics and so on. I think really I'm just a romantic at heart. So pair that with Hammer horror films and you've kind of got where I'm at. I bought this really lovely version of Edgar Allan Poe's collected tales, and even the, you know, it's just a really beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book, and I will be reading that this autumn. And that colour is like my favourite colour, arsenic. Absolutely love it. So here is like a plastic crate, and this has got lots of my fabric stash in. So I sorted out all my autumny wintry fabrics, and I sorted out my summer fabrics, and then gave some to a local school so that they would be useful. Here are some fabrics, and most of these I will have shown you before, but I sort of had forgotten that I had them. These are all earmarked to be tea dresses. There's enough for dresses, and then I have this gorgeous velvet which needs to be something quite amazing. I found this really amazing, quite leery leopard print pink ombre crepe, and I probably, once upon a time, I would have worn this as a dress, but actually I really need a new dressing gown, and I think this will be a rather vampy glam dressing gown. These are leftovers, both from Missy Mop Fabrics last year. This snow leopard satin, and I made my Bella tea dress out of this one. It's really beautiful. This sort of, it's got that very kind of heavy vintagey feel with these abstract polka dots. So both of those are earmarked to be blouses of some kind, whether that's a 40s blouse. This would make rather an epic sleeved pussy bow type affair. When sorting out the fabric stash, a really nice thing to do is put fabrics together in stories, so then you get ideas for how things can go together and outfits that you can make. But here is a sort of a green story, and I've shown you these two fabrics, but a velvet. I'd like to make a Dita skirt out of this, which may or may not be feasible. There's this vintage lovely watercolory floral, enough for a dress there, so that may become a dress. And then this is a vintage 1940s rayon in this lovely jewel bright green. I think a blouse out of that would be really amazing. So I wouldn't necessarily make something and wear all of these together, but it's just nice looking at the fabrics. Here's my final little pile of fabric. I do have more, believe it or not. Last week I mentioned that I wanted to put a cat motif on a thrifted jumper, and here is the cat. So I will be doing that. There's some silk dupion left over from a commission a long time ago. That's earmarked, as is the gold lame, for my new pattern that I'm just working on, another accessories pattern that sort of is inspired by Madame Arcati and that whole idea of fortune tellers, sorcerers and so on. So that's that. The cord that I have made trousers in, so I'm going to make a nice, one of my nice waistcoats with that, because I really love those. And then I have a huge amount of this bright pink needle cord that I've been lugging around for years. I bought this for £1 a metre from Walthamstow Market, I think even before my daughter was born, so I've had it a very long time. And I think I'd originally intended to cover a chair with it, but it's a bit too fine for that. So This is going to be another vampire's wife dress at the very least. There might be enough to make a jacket as well, I don't know, and some other bits, but that's going to be a vampire's wife dress, and that is what I'm going to be making next week. I hope this second part of planning my autumn wardrobe, my sewing plans and fabrics and inspiration has been interesting for you and a little bit inspiring possibly. As always, thank you so much for spending time with me in my little cottage by the sea. I'm going to be cracking on with a lot of these makes, and of course I'll take you along for the ride. I hope that wherever you are in the world you are keeping safe and well, and you are doing some sewing for autumn, winter, or even spring, summer, depending on where you are in this amazing world that we inhabit. As I always say at the end of my videos, we can make the world a better place just one stitch at a time. So I hope that you get to do some sewing or be creative, and that gives you comfort. I will see you next week for more sewing, and I hope you have a wonderful time till then, my lovelies. See you soon. Bye.